What if everything you've been struggling to control is actually holding you back? Imagine carrying a weight so heavy you barely notice it anymore. The weight of caring too much. Every day you invest your energy, your thoughts, your emotions into outcomes, into what people think, into situations that seem urgent and impossible to escape. You care about success, approval, the future, the past. You care so deeply that it feels like a part of your identity. But what if this endless caring is not a strength but a burden? What if it's the very thing stopping you from moving forward? You wake up with a mind full of worries. Did I do enough? What will they say? What if I fail? Your heart races with stress and your body tenses under the pressure of expectations. This invisible weight clings to you, draining your joy, your peace, your clarity. It pushes you into a state of constant tension, where every small outcome feels like a test you must pass. This is the cost of caring too much. It steals your energy and blinds you to what really matters. But here's the truth you rarely hear. When you stop caring so intensely, everything begins to change. Not because you stop caring altogether, but because you shift how you care. You stop allowing the opinions of others to dictate your self-worth. You stop tying your happiness to uncontrollable outcomes. You stop fighting battles that drain your spirit. This shift opens a new door, a door to freedom, clarity, and strength. Imagine what life would be like if your mind was no longer a battlefield of worries, but a calm space where you could think clearly and act with purpose. You might wonder, why let go? Why stop caring when it feels like caring is what drives you forward? The answer is simple but powerful. When you care less about the things that don't serve your growth, you free yourself to care more deeply about what truly matters. Your values, your passions, your peace. This is not about giving up or becoming indifferent. It's about choosing where to put your energy wisely so it fuels your growth instead of burning you out. The reward for learning to let go is immense. It's the ability to walk through life with a lighter heart, less fear, and more courage. It's the strength to face uncertainty without being paralyzed by it. It's the freedom to try, fail, and try again without losing yourself. This freedom creates space for real transformation. When you stop over-caring about things you cannot control, you unlock a powerful force within you, the power to focus, to act decisively, to rise above obstacles. So, stay with this thought as you listen. The struggle you feel is often the result of caring too much in the wrong way. But there is a way out, a path that leads to peace and progress. The journey starts when you recognize that caring less can actually mean living more. And as you move forward, you will discover how everything, truly everything, begins to work out when you stop carrying the weight that was never yours to bear. This is your moment, your choice to step into freedom, your chance to change everything. What if the freedom you seek isn't found by trying harder, but by stepping back? Your mind is a battlefield where emotions collide. Fear, hope, doubt, desire, all fighting for control. When you care too much, your thoughts spiral into chaos, and your heart becomes a prison. But what if you could step out of that chaos? What if you could stand apart from your worries and see them for what they are? Just thoughts, not commands. This is the power of detachment, a mental shift that isn't about turning cold or shutting down your feelings. It's about reclaiming control by choosing how deeply you let emotions pull you in. Detachment frees your mind from the noise so you can hear your own truth. Science shows that when you emotionally detach from overwhelming worries, your brain functions more clearly. Stress hormones drop, and you access a calmer state where solutions become visible. This isn't about being indifferent. It's about becoming emotionally intelligent, knowing when to engage and when to step back. You learn to observe your feelings without drowning in them, to watch your thoughts without being swept away. Detachment allows your mind to rest from the endless chatter, giving space for clarity and strength to grow. Imagine how different your decisions would be if you acted from a place of calm control instead of anxiety. How many moments have you lost, caught in the trap of caring too much, afraid to make a move because of what might go wrong? That fear comes from over-identifying with outcomes, from letting external circumstances shape your inner world. But when you detach, you learn to trust yourself regardless of what happens outside. You develop an unshakable foundation built on self-awareness and confidence, not on fragile approval or fleeting success. Detachment is a radical act of self-care. It tells your mind and body that you deserve peace, that your worth isn't tied to constant struggle. This mental freedom doesn't just reduce anxiety, it creates a new energy. An energy focused on what you can control, your actions, your intentions, your mindset. The less you care about uncontrollable factors, the more energy you have to pour into your growth. This energy fuels resilience, courage, and clarity, turning obstacles into stepping stones instead of dead ends. When you detach, you stop feeding the inner voices that say you're not enough or that failure means you are weak. You start to see those voices as echoes of old fears, not truths to live by. This perspective shift creates a powerful emotional space where healing begins. You become your own safe place, no longer dependent on others' approval or outcomes for your peace. Your mind becomes a sanctuary where strength is built quietly, patiently, but with unstoppable force. This transformation isn't easy because it requires you to face discomfort, uncertainty, loss of control, the unknown. But it's necessary. Holding on too tightly is a form of resistance that keeps you stuck. Letting go of the need to control every detail allows life to flow through you instead of against you. It invites new possibilities that were invisible before, new paths that appear only when your mind is free. The courage to detach is the courage to live fully, to embrace whatever comes without losing yourself. This courage will lead you to a life where peace and progress walk hand in hand, where caring less unlocks your true power. The truth is, caring too much often hides a deeper truth: fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of losing control. When you find yourself consumed by worry or overthinking, ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Most of the time, the answer is fear dressed as caring. This fear wraps itself tightly around your mind, convincing you that if you don't care enough, everything will fall apart. But this belief is a trap. It chains you to an endless cycle of anxiety and doubt, stopping you from taking the very risks that lead to growth. Fear thrives in the space where control feels out of reach. It feeds on your attempts to micromanage every outcome, to force things to go your way. The more you try to control, the more fear tightens its grip. But true power comes when you recognize this fear for what it is, an illusion. It is a signal, not a barrier. When you stop confusing caring with fear, you reclaim your mind and heart. You stop being a prisoner to what-ifs and start living in the moment, guided by what you can actually influence. This shift requires courage, but it also brings immense relief. Imagine no longer wasting your energy on endless what-ifs. Imagine breaking free from the emotional roller coaster of highs and lows that comes with overcaring. When you stop feeding fear disguised as caring, you stop living in reaction and begin living with intention. Your energy aligns with your true desires, not your anxieties. When fear no longer drives you, your actions become clearer and more powerful. You start to act from a place of confidence, not desperation. This confidence doesn't come from guarantees or perfect outcomes. It comes from knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way. You build resilience by accepting uncertainty as part of life, rather than a threat to be avoided. Each step you take, even if imperfect, becomes a victory because you are no longer controlled by fear. This freedom allows you to focus on what truly matters: your growth, your values, your peace. Caring becomes a tool, not a trap. It fuels your passion without overwhelming you. You learn to care deeply about your purpose while releasing attachment to results. This balance creates a mental space where creativity, courage, and clarity flourish. You stop exhausting yourself trying to control every detail and instead channel your energy into meaningful, intentional action. This transformation isn't about ignoring reality or becoming cold. It's about facing reality without fear controlling your heart. It's about embracing life's uncertainties with the quiet strength of someone who knows their worth is not tied to success or failure. This perspective frees you from the chains of fear that come from caring too much in the wrong way. When you stop confusing caring with fear, you open the door to a life where peace and power coexist. You gain the ability to move forward with steady determination, even when the outcome is unknown. This is the foundation of true freedom, the freedom to care without fear, to act without hesitation, and to live fully without being weighed down by invisible chains. This is where transformation begins. Surrender is often misunderstood as giving up, but it is the exact opposite. Surrender is the conscious choice to stop fighting the natural flow of life, and to accept what is happening without resistance. This acceptance does not mean passivity or resignation. It means allowing yourself to experience reality fully, without the added weight of struggle. When you surrender, you release the exhausting battle against circumstances beyond your control. You stop pushing against the current and instead learn to navigate it with grace and strength. This shift in mindset brings an unexpected power, one rooted in calmness, clarity, and resilience. Surrender opens a space within where peace can grow. It creates room for new possibilities because when your mind stops resisting, it stops creating mental blocks and fears. You begin to see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities for growth and transformation. This perspective frees you from the emotional chaos that caring too much often brings. Instead of being overwhelmed by what you cannot change, you focus your energy on what you can influence: your attitude, your choices, your actions. This focus turns chaos into order and fear into courage. Surrender allows you to detach from the outcome while staying deeply engaged in the process. This balance is critical. You commit to your goals with passion, but do not tie your happiness or self-worth to whether those goals are met exactly as you imagined. This detachment from results reduces anxiety and frees your mind to be more creative and adaptable. You become flexible in your approach, willing to adjust and evolve instead of becoming stuck in frustration or disappointment. This adaptability is a key ingredient for success and fulfillment. Choosing surrender is a radical act of trust. Trust in yourself, trust in life, and trust in the unknown. It means believing that even if things don't go as planned, you have the inner strength to handle whatever comes. This trust is not blind. It is built through the practice of letting go of control and embracing uncertainty. The more you practice surrender, the stronger this trust becomes. It grows until it forms the foundation of your confidence and peace. Surrender also connects you with your deepest values and purpose. When you stop trying to control every detail, you free your mind from distractions and noise. This clarity helps you focus on what truly matters, what aligns with your authentic self. It allows you to live with integrity and intention, making choices that reflect your core beliefs rather than external pressures or fears. Living from this place brings a sense of fulfillment that caring too much can never provide. This path is not always easy. Surrender challenges the ego's need for control and certainty. It asks you to be vulnerable, to face the unknown without armor. But in that vulnerability lies incredible strength, the strength to rise above fear, to release resistance, and to move forward with a heart open to life's possibilities. Surrender is the gateway to freedom, peace, and true power. When you choose it, you step into a life where everything begins to work out. Not because you force it, but because you allow it. This is the beginning of transformation, the moment you stop fighting and start flowing. The moment you decide to stop seeking validation from the outside world, your life shifts profoundly. The need for approval, praise, or recognition can become a cage that traps your true self. When you care too much about what others think, you lose connection with your own voice, your own desires, and your own path. The endless chase to please everyone else drains your energy and blurs your vision. But when you release this need, you reclaim your power. You become the author of your own story, free to write it without fear or hesitation. This freedom is a turning point. It means trusting yourself enough to stand firm even when the world doubts you. It means prioritizing your peace over popularity, your growth over comfort, your truth over approval. When you stop seeking permission to be yourself, you unlock a deep well of confidence that no external opinion can shake. This confidence fuels resilience, enabling you to face criticism, rejection, or loneliness without losing your center. It creates a shield around your spirit that protects you from negativity and keeps you moving forward. Learning to care less about others' judgments doesn't mean becoming cold or detached from people. It means choosing your relationships and connections wisely, based on mutual respect and authenticity. It means valuing quality over quantity. When you stop chasing approval, you attract people who truly align with your values and support your growth. This alignment brings a sense of belonging and strength that caring too much about everyone else could never provide. The psychological truth behind this shift is powerful. Your brain is wired to respond to social approval because belonging once meant survival. But in today's world, overvaluing external validation creates anxiety and insecurity. By consciously redirecting your focus inward, you rewire your brain for self-acceptance and inner security. This rewiring builds emotional resilience and decreases the impact of social pressures. It frees you to act from authenticity rather than fear. This transformation starts with awareness. Notice when your thoughts spiral around what others might think. Catch yourself before you over-explain, over-apologize, or over-justify your choices. These are signs that you are still trapped in the need for approval. Replace these patterns with self-affirmation and trust in your judgment. Affirm that your worth is inherent, not conditional. This simple shift recalibrates your mindset and rewires your emotional responses. With practice, this new mindset becomes your default. You move through the world with a quiet confidence that needs no external fuel. You find peace in solitude and strength in your independence. The freedom from approval opens doors to bold action and fearless decision-making. It is the soil from which true creativity, leadership, and personal power grow. This freedom is not just a mental state. It's a way of living. A life where your actions align with your deepest values, unshaken by outside opinions. A life where caring less about approval means caring more about your truth. This balance creates a powerful emotional foundation that propels you forward with clarity and courage. When you stop chasing others' validation, you step into your most authentic, powerful self, ready to create a life that works no matter what anyone else thinks. There is a profound strength in embracing uncertainty, yet most of us resist it fiercely. We crave certainty because it feels safe, predictable, and controlled, but certainty is often an illusion, a fragile construct that shatters the moment life throws its inevitable curveballs. When you care too much about certainty, you trap yourself in fear and stagnation. The key to true freedom lies in becoming comfortable with the unknown, in leaning into uncertainty with open arms and a steady heart. This willingness to embrace what you cannot control transforms anxiety into possibility and paralysis into momentum. Your mind is wired to avoid uncertainty because it triggers survival instincts. But in this modern world, uncertainty is not your enemy, it is your greatest teacher. When you stop fearing the unknown, you step into a realm where growth, creativity, and resilience thrive. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start acting from where you are, with what you have. This shift rewires your brain to seek solutions instead of fixating on problems. It ignites your inner strength, pushing you to adapt, learn, and evolve with every challenge. Caring less about certainty doesn't mean recklessness or abandoning responsibility. It means accepting that control is limited, and that real power comes from how you respond, not what you control. This mindset reduces stress and frees mental space for innovation and courage. You begin to trust that even if the path is unclear, you have the wisdom and strength to navigate it. Trust fuels bold decisions and persistent action, even in the face of doubt and risk. Living with uncertainty demands emotional resilience. It asks you to sit with discomfort without letting it consume you. This is where emotional intelligence becomes your greatest ally. By recognizing your feelings of fear or doubt without judgment, you create space to choose your response consciously. Instead of reacting impulsively or retreating, you act with intention and calm. This ability to manage your emotional landscape empowers you to move forward steadily, no matter how uncertain the situation. When you embrace uncertainty, you also break free from the paralysis of perfectionism. The obsession with perfect outcomes often masks a deeper fear of failure or judgment. This fear keeps you stuck in hesitation and self-doubt, but by caring less about flawless certainty, you give yourself permission to try, fail, and learn. Each failure becomes a stepping stone, not a setback. This mindset shift fosters growth and propels you toward your goals with unwavering determination. This transformation rewires how you experience life. Instead of fearing the unknown, you begin to see it as fertile ground for possibility. This perspective invites curiosity and openness rather than anxiety and resistance. You develop a mindset where challenges become invitations to expand, and setbacks become lessons in disguise. Your inner world becomes a source of strength, peace, and creativity. Ultimately, embracing uncertainty frees you from the exhausting need to control every detail. It allows life to unfold with its natural ebb and flow, trusting that you can handle whatever comes. This trust is the foundation of true courage, the courage to keep moving forward, to take risks, and to live fully without guarantees. When you stop clinging to certainty, you open yourself to a life of deeper freedom, power, and transformation. This is where everything begins to work out because you are no longer battling the unknown. You are dancing with it. True strength emerges not from avoiding discomfort, but from learning to endure it with grace. Pain, uncertainty, and struggle are inevitable parts of life. Yet our natural impulse is to resist them fiercely. We want to escape discomfort as quickly as possible, hoping that if we just avoid the hard feelings, peace will follow. But true growth demands something different. It requires that we lean into discomfort, face it directly, and allow it to shape us rather than break us. When you stop caring about avoiding pain and start caring about your growth, you unlock a resilience that no hardship can shake. Endurance is not passive suffering, it is active strength. It means acknowledging your pain without letting it define you. It means feeling fear without letting fear control your choices. This stance transforms your relationship with struggle. Instead of seeing it as punishment or failure, you begin to view it as the training ground for your transformation. Each challenge becomes a chance to prove to yourself that you are stronger than any obstacle. This mindset fuels perseverance because you understand that every moment of discomfort is temporary, but the strength gained from it lasts forever. The psychology behind endurance reveals why this shift is so powerful. When you stop avoiding pain, your brain stops triggering the fight or flight response constantly. Instead, it begins to adapt, building emotional muscles that make you more resistant to future hardships. This neural resilience not only improves your mental health but also enhances your decision-making and problem-solving abilities. You become more present, less reactive, and more grounded in your sense of purpose. Caring less about avoiding discomfort also frees you from the trap of perfectionism. The desire to be flawless often masks a deeper fear of failure or rejection. This fear paralyzes action and keeps you stuck in cycles of self-doubt. But when you accept that discomfort is part of the process, you give yourself permission to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to grow through them. This freedom from perfectionism unleashes creativity and courage, empowering you to take bold steps toward your dreams. Learning to endure discomfort without resistance is a profound act of self-love. It means honoring your journey and trusting that you are capable of handling whatever arises. This trust replaces self-criticism and impatience with compassion and patience. You stop punishing yourself for feeling vulnerable, and instead nurture your inner strength with kindness. This shift deepens your connection to yourself and your purpose. Endurance also builds confidence. Each time you face difficulty and come through it, you reinforce your belief in your own strength. This growing confidence becomes a shield against future fears and doubts. You move through life with a quiet assurance that no matter what happens, you have the power to keep going. This assurance transforms your mindset from one of scarcity and fear to one of abundance and courage. By choosing endurance over avoidance, you step into a life where challenges become catalysts for transformation, rather than sources of defeat. You begin to see hardship as a necessary part of your journey, shaping you into the person you are meant to be. This mindset shift creates a powerful momentum that carries you forward, no matter how difficult the path. When you stop caring about avoiding discomfort and start caring about your growth, everything begins to work out because you are unstoppable. The power to change your life lies in the moment you stop resisting reality and start accepting it fully. Resistance to what is creates inner conflict, stress, and frustration. We fight circumstances we cannot control, wasting precious energy on denial and anger. But when you stop caring about controlling every outcome and instead embrace acceptance, a profound shift occurs. Acceptance does not mean giving up or settling. It means acknowledging where you are honestly, without judgment or struggle. This honesty frees you to see clearly, to act wisely, and to move forward with clarity and strength. Acceptance opens the door to peace. When you accept reality as it is, you stop wasting energy fighting the present moment. This relief alone creates space in your mind and heart to focus on what truly matters: your choices, your actions, your mindset. Acceptance anchors you in the now, where power resides. It stops you from being trapped in the past or anxious about the future. This presence is the foundation of emotional resilience and mental clarity. It empowers you to respond to challenges with calmness rather than panic, to face difficulties with courage rather than avoidance. Psychologically, acceptance rewires your brain for growth. By reducing the internal conflict between what you want and what is, your nervous system calms. This calmness allows your prefrontal cortex, the thinking, decision-making part of your brain, to function optimally. You gain greater control over impulses and emotions, leading to wiser choices and more effective problem-solving. Acceptance cultivates emotional intelligence, helping you recognize and process feelings without becoming overwhelmed or reactive. Caring less about controlling outcomes also dissolves the illusion of perfectionism. When you accept things as they are, you release the need for everything to be flawless or ideal. This shift reduces anxiety and fear of failure, making it easier to take action and keep moving forward. You stop waiting for the right moment or perfect conditions and instead begin to create momentum from where you stand. This momentum is the engine of progress and transformation. Acceptance deepens self-compassion. When you stop battling reality, you stop battling yourself. You begin to treat yourself with kindness instead of criticism, understanding instead of blame. This self-compassion strengthens your inner resilience, allowing you to recover from setbacks more quickly and maintain motivation even when the path is hard. It becomes a source of steady support that sustains you through challenges. Acceptance also improves your relationships. When you accept yourself fully, you create space to accept others without judgment. This openness fosters deeper connection, trust, and empathy. It frees you from the exhausting need to change or control people around you. Instead, you focus on what you can influence, your attitudes, boundaries, and responses. This clarity creates healthier dynamics and more meaningful interactions. By embracing acceptance, you break free from the cycle of frustration and resistance. You step into a life where challenges are met with calm, decisions are made with clarity, and actions flow from a place of strength. This mindset transforms struggle into opportunity and hardship into growth. When you stop caring about controlling everything and start caring about acceptance, everything begins to work out because you become grounded in the unshakable power of reality itself. The moment you release the need to control others is the moment you reclaim your own power. So much of our frustration and disappointment comes from trying to shape people, situations, and outcomes according to our desires. This constant struggle drains energy and steals joy. When you stop caring about controlling what you cannot, you break free from this exhausting cycle. Instead, you shift your focus inward, toward your own thoughts, feelings, and actions, where real power lives. This shift is not about giving up, it's about redirecting your energy to what you can influence, creating space for growth, peace, and true freedom. Understanding this shift deeply changes your relationships and your life. Control is an illusion, a desperate attempt to protect yourself from vulnerability and uncertainty. But true strength comes from acceptance and trust, in yourself, in others, and in the flow of life. When you stop trying to micromanage every detail, you stop resisting what is and start engaging with life as it unfolds. This openness invites connection, collaboration, and creativity. You become less reactive and more present, responding with wisdom instead of instinctive control. Psychologically, releasing control reduces stress and anxiety. The constant urge to control triggers the body's stress response, flooding you with adrenaline and cortisol. Over time, this keeps your nervous system in overdrive, leading to burnout and emotional exhaustion. When you let go, your body and mind relax. This relaxation allows your brain to process information clearly, your emotions to stabilize, and your decisions to become more thoughtful and effective. This calm presence becomes the foundation for resilience and confidence. Caring less about controlling others also dissolves the fear that drives manipulation and conflict. Control is often rooted in fear of loss, rejection, or failure. When you release that fear by accepting what you cannot change, you stop reacting from a place of scarcity and defensiveness. Instead, you operate from a mindset of abundance and trust. This shift not only improves your well-being, but also transforms how others respond to you. People naturally gravitate toward calm, confident energy rather than desperation and control. This transformation empowers you to set healthy boundaries without guilt or aggression. Boundaries are a form of self-respect, a way to protect your energy and maintain your integrity. When you stop trying to control others, you focus on clearly communicating your needs and limits. This clarity creates mutual respect and reduces conflict. You learn to say no without fear and yes without hesitation, creating relationships grounded in honesty and freedom. Releasing control also ignites creativity and adaptability. When you stop rigidly trying to force outcomes, you open yourself to new possibilities and solutions. This flexibility allows you to pivot, innovate, and grow in ways that controlling behavior never could. You become a master of your inner world, capable of navigating external chaos with grace. When you stop caring about controlling others and start caring about your own mindset and boundaries, you step into true power. You become a force of calm strength, able to influence without force, and lead without fear. This liberation transforms your life because you no longer battle the impossible. You harness your own energy to create what truly matters. This is where everything begins to work out, because your power is real, grounded, and unstoppable. The moment you stop trying to prove yourself to others is the moment you begin to prove yourself to yourself. So much of our energy is spent seeking validation, approval, and recognition from the outside world. We crave the nods of acceptance that momentarily boost our self-worth. But this external dependence leaves us vulnerable, fragile, and endlessly chasing approval that can never fully satisfy. True confidence is not built on others' opinions, but on an unshakable belief in your own value. When you stop caring about proving yourself, you reclaim your inner strength and freedom. Letting go of the need to prove anything to anyone allows you to focus entirely on your own journey. You stop measuring your worth by comparisons or judgments and instead begin to measure it by your growth, effort, and integrity. This internal validation builds a foundation that no external force can shake. You become grounded in who you are, not in who others want or expect you to be. This grounding creates a quiet power that radiates from within and draws respect naturally, without force or demand. Psychologically, seeking constant approval creates a cycle of dependency and insecurity. Your brain learns to link self-worth to external feedback, making you reactive and anxious. When that feedback is absent or negative, self-doubt and fear surge. Breaking free from this pattern requires shifting the source of validation inward. By focusing on your intentions, values, and actions, you train your mind to recognize your own worth regardless of outside noise. This shift fosters resilience and emotional independence. Caring less about proving yourself also frees you from the trap of perfectionism and fear of failure. When your value is tied to proving worth, every mistake feels like a threat. You become afraid to take risks or show vulnerability. But when you stop caring about proving yourself, you accept that mistakes are part of learning and growth. This acceptance allows you to take bold actions and embrace vulnerability without fear. This courage to be imperfect fuels transformation and success. Releasing the need to prove yourself deepens your self-compassion. You stop punishing yourself for not meeting impossible standards and start treating yourself with kindness and patience. This compassion strengthens your emotional well-being and creates a nurturing inner environment for growth. You become your own ally rather than your harshest critic, which boosts motivation and joy. Letting go of proving yourself transforms your relationships as well. You stop seeking validation through others' approval and begin to connect authentically. This authenticity invites genuine respect and deeper bonds. You no longer feel the pressure to perform or conform to others' expectations, which reduces stress and increases happiness. When you stop caring about proving yourself to others and start caring about honoring your own journey, you step into true freedom and power. You become unstoppable because your worth is no longer fragile or conditional. It is steady, self-defined, and deeply rooted in your being. This is where transformation begins. This is where everything starts to work out because you finally stand firm in your own truth, unshaken by the need to prove anything to anyone but yourself. True freedom begins the moment you stop trying to control how others perceive you. So much of life's weight comes from the fear of judgment, rejection, or misunderstanding. This invisible burden shapes your actions and muffles your voice. When you care deeply about others' opinions, you shrink to fit their expectations, silencing your true self. But the moment you stop caring about how you are perceived, you reclaim your authenticity. This freedom allows you to stand tall, speak your truth, and live without apology. It is a radical act of courage that transforms your entire existence. Caring less about others' perceptions does not mean indifference or arrogance. It means detaching your self-worth from the fragile opinions of others. This detachment is a powerful psychological shift that reduces anxiety and builds emotional resilience. When your sense of value is not tied to external approval, you create a stable inner foundation that cannot be shaken by criticism or praise. You become immune to the ups and downs of social validation, responding with calm and confidence instead of insecurity and fear. This shift also liberates your creative energy. When you stop censoring yourself to avoid judgment, you open the door to bold self-expression. Your ideas flow freely, your passions ignite, and your potential unfolds without restraint. Creativity thrives in this environment of authenticity because it is no longer stifled by fear. This freedom to be yourself becomes a source of joy and fulfillment, propelling you towards success on your own terms. Letting go of the need to control others' perceptions deepens your relationships in profound ways. Authenticity invites authenticity. When you show up as your true self, you attract people who resonate with your values and energy. These connections are genuine and nourishing, free from the exhaustion of pretense and performance. You build trust and respect naturally, creating bonds that uplift rather than drain you. This shift improves the quality of your interactions and enriches your sense of belonging. Psychologically, the fear of judgment triggers the brain's threat response, flooding the body with stress hormones that impair thinking and behavior. When you stop caring about judgment, this stress response quiets. Your nervous system settles into a state of safety and openness, allowing you to think clearly, communicate effectively, and act with intention. This calm presence enhances your confidence and strengthens your ability to navigate life's challenges. Releasing concern over how others see you also enhances your personal growth. It frees you to take risks, embrace failure, and learn without the heavy burden of perfectionism. You become willing to step outside your comfort zone because you no longer fear negative evaluation. This courage to be imperfect fuels progress and resilience. It transforms setbacks into stepping stones and criticism into valuable feedback. When you stop caring about how others perceive you and start caring about your own truth, you reclaim your power. You become a force of authenticity and courage, moving through life with clarity and grace. This freedom is the foundation of lasting confidence and fulfillment. It is the key to unlocking your full potential and living a life that truly works out. Because when you stop caring about the mask you wear for others, you finally become the person you were always meant to be. The weight of constant caring can crush the spirit and cloud the mind. When you care too much about every outcome, every opinion, every detail beyond your control, you drain your energy and create unnecessary suffering. The truth is, not everything requires your attention or emotional investment. Learning to care selectively is a powerful skill that frees your mind and protects your peace. By consciously deciding where to place your care, you reclaim control over your emotional landscape and your life. This choice is not about indifference, it is about wisdom, knowing what deserves your energy and what does not. Over-investing your care in things that do not serve you leads to overwhelm and burnout. The mind becomes cluttered with worries about people, situations, and possibilities that you cannot change. This mental noise blocks clarity and drains motivation. When you stop caring about every small thing, you create mental space for focus and creativity. You develop the ability to direct your attention with precision toward what truly matters, your goals, values, and growth. This mental clarity becomes a catalyst for action and transformation. Caring selectively also shields you from toxic influences. When you care too much about approval, criticism, or drama, you open yourself to emotional manipulation and stress. By caring less about what toxic people say or think, you preserve your emotional energy and protect your well-being. This detachment is an act of self-respect and strength. It builds a psychological barrier that stops negativity from invading your mind and heart. In this space, you can nurture positivity, resilience, and peace. The psychology behind selective caring lies in learning to regulate your emotional investment. Your brain is wired to respond to stimuli, but not all stimuli deserve equal weight. By consciously choosing where to care, you train your brain to prioritize. This rewiring enhances emotional intelligence and self-control, allowing you to respond to life's challenges with calm and wisdom rather than reactive stress. You become the master of your emotions instead of their victim. This shift transforms your daily experience. You feel lighter, more present, and more empowered. The anxieties tied to uncontrollable outcomes fade away because you no longer give them power. Your energy flows toward your own actions, efforts, and choices, the true levers of change. This focus sparks momentum and confidence as you see tangible progress in areas you can influence. You become more resilient because your well-being is no longer dependent on external chaos. Caring less about what drains you creates room for genuine passion and joy. When your mind is not consumed by worries, you reconnect with what excites and fulfills you. You invest your care in your dreams, relationships, and personal growth with greater intensity and authenticity. This focused care amplifies your impact and deepens your sense of meaning. It is the fuel for a life that feels alive, purposeful, and unstoppable. When you master the art of caring selectively, you regain control over your inner world. You step out of the exhausting cycle of over-caring and step into a space of balance, power, and peace. This is where everything starts to work out. Not because the world changes overnight, but because your relationship to it does. You become the calm center in the storm, unshaken and fully in charge of your life's direction. This freedom to care wisely is the foundation of true transformation and lasting success. The moment you release the need for constant control, you invite peace into your life. Control is an illusion we cling to, hoping it will protect us from chaos, pain, or failure. But the harder you try to control every outcome, the more you resist the natural flow of life, creating tension and frustration. True strength lies in surrender, not giving up on your goals but accepting what you cannot change while fully committing to what you can. This surrender is not weakness. It is a powerful stance of clarity and courage that transforms anxiety into calm and resistance into resilience. Letting go of control means trusting yourself in the process of life. It means understanding that setbacks are not the end, but signals to adjust, learn, and grow. When you stop fighting to force things to happen your way, you open your mind to new possibilities and solutions that were hidden by your rigid expectations. This openness fuels creativity and innovation, allowing you to navigate obstacles with flexibility rather than fear. The more you practice this mindset, the more you realize that control is not a necessity, it is a choice. Psychologically, the need for control is tied to the brain's survival mechanisms. When faced with uncertainty, your brain seeks to predict and manage outcomes to feel safe. This instinct is natural, but when taken too far, it traps you in cycles of worry and stress. By learning to release control, you rewire your brain to tolerate uncertainty and ambiguity without panic. This rewiring reduces cortisol levels, improves decision-making, and strengthens emotional regulation. You become calmer and more centered, able to face life's unpredictability with grace. Surrendering control does not mean passivity or resignation. It means actively choosing where to focus your energy and effort. It means committing fully to your values and actions, while letting go of the need to dictate every detail. This balance between effort and acceptance is the essence of mastery. It frees you from the exhausting burden of perfectionism and over-planning, allowing you to engage fully in the present moment. In this space, your actions become more effective because they come from alignment rather than desperation. When you stop trying to control everything, you reclaim your power. Power not over others or circumstances, but power over your inner world. You gain control over your thoughts, emotions, and responses. This inner control becomes your anchor, a source of stability regardless of external chaos. You build confidence through experience, knowing that no matter what happens, you can handle it. This confidence breeds courage, the courage to take risks, face challenges, and pursue your dreams with relentless determination. This transformation shifts your entire perspective on life. Challenges become opportunities. Failure becomes feedback. Resistance becomes growth. Your mindset evolves from scarcity and fear to abundance and trust. You understand that life is not about perfect outcomes, but about your journey of becoming stronger, wiser, and more authentic. This understanding dissolves anxiety and opens space for joy and fulfillment. Releasing the need for control is a radical act of self-love and liberation. It is the key to unlocking your potential and living a life that flows naturally toward your highest good. When you embrace this truth, you find that everything starts to work out, not because you force it to, but because you allow it to. You become the calm in the storm, the steady hand guiding your own destiny with unwavering faith. This is the power of surrender, and it changes everything. When you finally stop caring about the approval of others, you begin to reclaim your freedom. The weight of seeking validation can suffocate your true self. Constantly worrying about how others perceive you drains your energy and clouds your judgment. This invisible burden limits your choices, shackling you to fear and doubt. But imagine what it would feel like to break free from this invisible prison. Imagine the relief and strength that comes from no longer living to meet someone else's expectations. The moment you stop caring about external approval, you unlock a power that is purely yours. Caring too much about others' opinions is a trap, one that keeps you in a cycle of self-judgment and hesitation. This need for acceptance is rooted in our natural social instincts, but when overindulged, it distorts your self-worth. Your value becomes dependent on fleeting opinions rather than your inner truth. This dependency breeds insecurity and anxiety, making you lose sight of who you really are. When you detach from this need, your self-esteem stops riding the unpredictable waves of others' judgments and settles into a steady, unwavering confidence. This shift in mindset rewires how your brain processes social stress. The fear of rejection diminishes, lowering stress hormones and calming your nervous system. You gain clarity because your thoughts are no longer hijacked by worry about judgment. Instead, your mind focuses on what truly matters: your values, goals, and authentic desires. This clarity strengthens your decision-making and propels you toward action without hesitation. You become unstoppable because your motivation is intrinsic, fueled by your own purpose rather than external applause. Letting go of approval also sharpens your boundaries. When you stop caring about pleasing everyone, you start to say no without guilt. You protect your time, energy, and emotions fiercely. This boundary setting is an act of self-respect and a declaration of your worth. It creates space for genuine relationships and meaningful pursuits. By refusing to be a people pleaser, you attract people who appreciate the real you, not a version molded by others' expectations. This authenticity builds deeper connections and enriches your life. There is incredible liberation in realizing that the opinions of others do not define your path or your potential. You hold the pen to your own story. When you stop caring about fitting in or being liked, you begin to stand out, not because you seek attention, but because you embody your truth unapologetically. This authenticity resonates with those who truly matter, creating magnetic energy that draws opportunities and support to you naturally. You become a beacon of confidence and integrity. This journey is not easy. It requires courage to face fears of rejection and loneliness. It demands resilience to keep showing up as your authentic self despite setbacks. But the reward is priceless. A life lived on your terms, free from the chains of external judgment. This freedom ignites your creativity, fuels your ambition, and elevates your spirit. When you stop caring about what others think, you start caring deeply about yourself. And that is the foundation of all true success and happiness. In that space of freedom, you find peace and power. You realize that the world's opinion is just noise. Your voice, your dreams, and your choices are what truly matter. This radical shift transforms how you move through life with boldness, clarity, and unshakable confidence. When you stop caring about approval, everything begins to fall into place because you are finally living from your core, fully and fiercely alive. There is a profound strength that comes from detaching your sense of worth from external outcomes. When you stop tying your happiness to results beyond your control, you reclaim your peace. This liberation allows you to focus fully on the process, on the effort, and on the growth, rather than being chained to the fear of failure or the hunger for praise. The moment you surrender the need to control every outcome, you open space for creativity, resilience, and authentic progress. You learn to trust yourself regardless of what happens, and that trust becomes a source of unshakable power. Caring less about results does not mean becoming indifferent or lazy. It means shifting your energy from trying to please others or prove your value to committing fully to your own journey. When your motivation is internal rather than external, your work becomes a reflection of your deepest values and desires. This intrinsic motivation sustains you through challenges and setbacks because it is rooted in who you are, not what others expect from you. Your confidence no longer depends on applause but on your own acknowledgement of effort and growth. The psychological impact of letting go of attachment to outcomes is immense. Your brain reduces anxiety and stress, allowing you to stay calm and focused even under pressure. This calmness sharpens your decision-making and heightens your awareness, enabling you to respond wisely rather than react impulsively. When you care less about uncontrollable outcomes, your nervous system operates in a state of balance, opening doors to creativity and problem-solving that fear often blocks. You start seeing setbacks as feedback, not defeat. And this perspective fuels your persistence. This mindset transforms your relationship with failure. Failure is no longer a threat but a necessary step toward mastery. You understand that every mistake, every setback is simply information guiding you closer to success. This reframing builds resilience, the kind that allows you to stand tall no matter how many times you fall. It frees you from the paralyzing grip of perfectionism and the endless cycle of self-doubt. Instead, you become someone who embraces challenge as an essential part of growth. When you detach from outcomes, you also stop wasting energy on things beyond your influence. You learn to identify what is truly within your power, your effort, your attitude, your choices, and direct your focus there. This clarity amplifies your impact because your energy is not scattered chasing impossible guarantees. Instead, it is concentrated, deliberate, and effective. This shift propels you forward with a sense of purpose that is steady and enduring. Living without attachment to results means you no longer fear judgment or rejection. Your sense of self-worth remains intact, regardless of approval or criticism. This freedom strengthens your voice and your presence in the world. You become fearless in pursuing your goals, knowing that your value is not defined by external validation but by your commitment to yourself. This inner freedom is magnetic. It draws opportunities, relationships, and success effortlessly because it radiates authenticity and confidence. At the core, this practice of detachment is about reclaiming your emotional sovereignty. It is about becoming the author of your experience rather than a prisoner of circumstance. When you stop caring about results in the old way, you open the door to true freedom, creativity, and lasting fulfillment. You step into a powerful new way of living, one where your energy fuels your growth, your spirit remains unbreakable, and your path unfolds with clarity and grace. You have the power to redefine your relationship with control. Most of us live trapped by the illusion that we can and must control every outcome, every reaction, every moment. This illusion creates endless tension and disappointment because life itself is unpredictable, constantly shifting beyond our grasp. When you stop trying to control what you cannot, you release yourself from the exhausting burden of unmet expectations. This release is not defeat. It is freedom. It is the beginning of peace, the kind that does not depend on circumstances but blooms from within. Understanding this truth rewires your mind. Your thoughts stop spinning in endless loops of worry about what might go wrong. Instead, you start to focus on what truly matters: your actions, your mindset, your presence. The shift from control to contribution changes everything. You begin to see yourself as a participant in life's flow, not a victim of its chaos. This perspective invites calm, confidence, and clarity. You no longer resist what is but move fluidly with it, adapting and thriving no matter the situation. This fluidity is a superpower. It allows you to conserve your energy and apply it where it counts. You stop wasting precious time on what you cannot change and redirect your effort to growth and meaningful progress. When you surrender control, you empower yourself to respond creatively rather than react fearfully. Your decisions become rooted in clarity instead of panic. This calm decisiveness attracts opportunity and opens doors that rigid control could never unlock. The psychological freedom that comes from relinquishing control reduces stress hormones flooding your system. Your brain settles into a state of balance, allowing emotional resilience to build naturally. You become less reactive and more proactive. Instead of being swept away by circumstances, you stand firm and steady. This groundedness strengthens your self-trust and deepens your connection to your inner strength. You realize that your true power is not in controlling the outside world but in mastering your inner world. This mastery transforms your daily experience. Challenges no longer trigger fear or anxiety. Obstacles become puzzles to solve, not walls to stop you. You welcome uncertainty as a natural part of growth, knowing it carries potential for new possibilities. This mindset shifts your emotional baseline from stress to peace, from doubt to trust, from chaos to calm. Living in this state creates momentum that carries you through any storm with grace and determination. When you let go of control, you also let go of perfectionism and the need for approval. You no longer strive to meet impossible standards set by others or yourself. Instead, you focus on progress and presence. This focus deepens your self-compassion and patience. You celebrate small victories and honor your efforts without harsh judgment.